Ethan Cole knelt beside his aging pickup truck on a quiet stretch of country road, his calloused hands smeared with grease as he fought to loosen a stubborn lug nut. The sun was dipping below the tree line, painting the sky in warm gold and crimson hues. He'd had a long day at the construction site, and all he wanted was to get home to his 10-year-old son, Liam, who was probably waiting with a reheated dinner and his favorite comic books spread across the kitchen table. Life had been tough since Ethan's wife passed away 3 years ago, leaving him to raise Liam alone, but he had learned to keep moving, one repair, one meal, one small victory at a time. As he worked, the rhythmic chirping of crickets was suddenly shattered by the sound of frantic footsteps and high-pitched cries. Ethan looked up just in time to see 2 little girls running toward him, barefoot and terrified, their matching dresses stained with dirt and tears streaming down their cheeks. "Please, mister," the taller one cried, clutching her twin sister's hand. "Please help our mama. She's not waking up." Ethan's wrench clattered to the ground as he jumped to his feet, his pulse quickening. "Where is she?" he asked urgently. The girls pointed toward an old silver sedan parked a few yards away on the shoulder of the road. Without another word, Ethan sprinted toward it. Through the car window, he saw a woman slumped over the steering wheel, motionless, her skin pale and lips dry. "Ma'am," he shouted, yanking open the door. The heat inside the car hit him like a wave. He gently touched her neck, a weak pulse, but she wasn't responding. "Hang on," he muttered, lowering her seat and fanning her face. He called 911 with trembling fingers, explaining the situation as calmly as he could. "Please hurry," he urged. When he hung up, he knelt beside her, whispering softly, "You're going to be okay, just hold on." The twins sobbed, clinging to each other, their little shoulders shaking. Ethan reached over and took their hands. "Your mama's gonna be all right," he promised, though his voice trembled. And as the distant wail of sirens echoed through the fading light, he stayed there, a stranger who refused to leave until help arrived. The steady beeping of medical machines filled the sterile air as Ethan sat in the hospital waiting room, his work shirt still damp with sweat and dirt. The twin girls sat beside him, their small hands gripping the edges of their stuffed bunny as they stared at the double doors where their mother had disappeared with the paramedics. "Is Mama going to die?" the younger one asked in a trembling whisper. Ethan's throat tightened. He knelt down in front of them, meeting their tear-streaked faces with a gentle smile. "No, sweetheart," he said softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Your mama's strong. The doctors are helping her right now." The girls nodded, though their eyes betrayed their fear. Hours passed in agonizing silence. Ethan bought them juice boxes from the vending machine and wrapped his jacket around their shoulders as the night grew cold. He didn't know why he stayed. He could have gone home, called the police, let them handle it, but something about the way the twins clung to him made leaving impossible. Just past midnight, a nurse approached, clipboard in hand. "Are you the one who brought her in?" she asked. Ethan nodded quickly, rising to his feet. "She's stable now," the nurse said with a kind smile. "Severe heat exhaustion and dehydration, but she'll recover thanks to you. You saved her life." Relief washed over him, and his knees almost buckled. He sat back down, exhaling shakily. "Can we see Mama?" the older twin asked eagerly. The nurse smiled. "She's resting, but she's asking about you." When they finally entered the dimly lit hospital room, the woman lay on the bed, pale but breathing steadily. Her eyelids fluttered open at the sound of her daughter's voices. "Mama," the girls cried, rushing to her side. Tears filled the woman's eyes as she reached for them. "My girls, thank God." She looked at Ethan then, confusion flickering before gratitude softened her gaze. You helped us." He nodded modestly. "Just happened to be there." Her lips trembled into a faint smile. "I don't even know your name." "Ethan," he said quietly. "Ethan Cole." She whispered, "Thank you, Ethan," her voice breaking. "You didn't just save me, you saved my girls." And as he watched them reunite, Ethan felt something stir in his heart, something he hadn't felt in a long time: purpose. Ethan's house hadn't heard children's laughter in years, but now it echoed through every room like sunlight breaking through clouds. After the hospital discharged Grace, a name he'd learned when signing her forms, she needed a few days to rest before she could work again. With no family nearby, Ethan insisted she and her twin daughters stay with him and Liam until she was stronger. "You've done enough," Grace protested weakly at first, but Ethan only smiled. "No one's ever worse off with a little kindness," he said. And so, what began as an act of compassion soon became something deeper. Each morning, the aroma of pancakes filled the kitchen as Ethan cooked while Liam and the twins giggled at the table, whispering secrets only children understood. Grace sat nearby, her cheeks still pale but glowing with gratitude. She helped fold laundry, insisted on cleaning dishes, and laughed softly whenever Ethan reminded her she was supposed to rest. In the evenings, they'd all gather in the living room, the twins curled up beside Liam on the couch as Ethan read aloud from an old storybook. Sometimes, Grace would look at him and wonder how a stranger could make her feel so safe. One afternoon, while she was resting on the porch, Grace confided in him. "I was driving to find work when the car broke down. I hadn't eaten all day, and the heat just," her voice trailed off, eyes glistening. Ethan leaned against the railing, nodding. "You don't owe me an explanation. I've been where you are, lost, trying to hold everything together." His words sank deep into her heart. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Grace watched Ethan teaching the twins how to roast marshmallows over a small fire pit. Their laughter filled the air, and for the first time in months, she felt like she belonged somewhere. When the children finally fell asleep, she whispered, "You've given us more than shelter, Ethan. You've given us peace." He looked at her, eyes soft and tired but full of warmth. "Maybe we both needed saving," he said quietly. In that moment, under the fading light, Grace realized that fate hadn't just brought a rescuer into her life, it had brought a home. A few weeks later, Grace had regained her strength, and though her heart felt heavy, she knew it was time to move on. She had found a small apartment in town and a part-time job at a local bakery, thanks to Ethan's help. The morning of her departure arrived with a bittersweet stillness. The twins clung to Liam, their eyes brimming with tears, while Grace packed the last of their things into an old duffel bag. Ethan stood by his truck, trying to mask the ache in his chest with a polite smile. "You sure you've got everything?" he asked, his voice rougher than usual. Grace nodded, forcing a smile of her own. "More than I came with," she replied softly. She walked over and extended her hand, but instead of shaking it, Ethan pulled her into a gentle hug. For a moment, neither spoke. The twins waved goodbye from the car window, and as the old sedan rolled down the dirt road, Ethan felt an emptiness settle over the house once more. Days passed in silence. Liam grew quieter, missing the girls' laughter, and Ethan found himself glancing at the porch each evening, half expecting their arrival. Then, one afternoon, as he was repairing a neighbor's fence, a familiar voice called out behind him. "You're still fixing everything you see, huh?" He turned, and there was Grace, standing by his truck with a shy smile, her hair pulled back and her apron dusted with flour. "Grace," he said, stunned. She laughed. "I had a delivery near here, but maybe that was just an excuse." The twins peeked out from behind her, grinning. "We missed you," they shouted, running to hug him. Grace handed him an envelope, a thank you card with shaky handwriting that said, "You gave us hope when we had none." Ethan smiled, eyes glistening. "You didn't have to do this," he murmured. "I wanted to," Grace said. "Anne. I was wondering if the job offer still stands. You mentioned needing someone to help with your business." Ethan chuckled softly. "Always room for one more." As the sun dipped low behind them, the twins played with Liam in the yard, laughter filling the air again. Grace stood beside Ethan, her hand brushing his. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like a man fixing broken things, he felt whole.